The shuttle touched down on the cracked lunar surface with the grace of a sleeping beast. Dust lifted in lazy spirals before settling again like nothing had disturbed it. To the Galactic Concord delegation aboard, this was no more than a ceremonial audit, a checkmark on a long list of diplomatic errands. Ambassador Trelk stepped off first, his slender insectoid limbs stiff from disuse. So this is the base they built? His mandibles clicked with amusement. Primitive charm, I suppose? Behind him, Dr. Vielathan slithered forward on her gelatinous undercarriage, 6 eye stalks swiveling in every direction. Fascinating decay. Their materials have aged poorly. That doorframe looks like it was chewed. Jack Carter leaned against the open hatch, thumbs hooked on a beaten leather belt, squinting behind aviator shades. Y'all done insulting the architecture, or should I get popcorn? The aliens froze, caught mid-insult. Jack smiled, warm and slow, the kind of smile that made you feel like a guest, right up until you remembered you weren't sure if you were welcome. Trelk cleared his throat. Ah, yes. Human liaison, I presume? Jack Carter. Pleasure. He extended a hand. No one took it. He shrugged and gestured to the jagged opening in the cliff face. Welcome to Armstrong Station. Mind the loose tiles. She's got character. They entered single file, the airlock hissing around them. Inside, dim lights flickered to life, revealing corridors lined with ancient steel, oxidized panels, and graffiti from a generation that barely believed in aliens. Lieutenant Ralvek, a tall, reptilian figure clad in ceremonial armor, swept his eyes along the ceiling. Why is there active power here? Jack kept walking, voice casual. Some systems refuse to die. Like my uncle's lawnmower. Still starts after 30 years if you kick it right. They reached the central hub, a circular chamber that once served as command. Half the consoles were cracked or offline. One flickered to life just as they entered. That wasn't on. Vielathan muttered, her tendrils retreating slightly. Jack raised an eyebrow. Weird, huh? He pressed a button. The screen blinked. A map of Earth lit up, annotated with heat signatures and satellite tracking overlays. Trelk's voice grew firm. This facility was listed as abandoned. This doesn't appear abandoned. Jack scratched his chin. Well, depends how you define abandoned. We haven't held staff here since the Mars crisis. But you know, some places keep breathing, even after you stop checking their pulse. They explored deeper. Jack's boots clanked ahead of them, the only sound for several minutes. The air inside was too cold, the gravity regulations slightly heavier than Concorde standard. Minor discomforts. Intentionally so. Vielathan paused at a door marked Research Beta. It opened before she touched it. I didn't authorize that, she whispered. Jack was behind her already, sipping coffee from a stainless steel thermos. She likes you. You've got an honest face. Must be rare in your line of work. The chamber was filled with dusty display cases. Inside, charred remains of alien tech. Cracked crystal drives. Shattered plasma cores. All labeled with crude human handwriting. Y'all really tried ID 2137C. Nope. We don't forget. Ralvek's nostrils flared. These are Concorde devices. Jack sipped again. Yep. Stuff y'all tried to sneak through our quarantine zones. Mostly salvage. Some intercepted before it could do damage. You were supposed to notify us. Trelk hissed. We did. Jack's smile didn't change. Via diplomatic channels. In triplicate. Pretty sure your people stamped it unimportant. The mood shifted. Trelk tried to regain ground. This doesn't change the fact that Earth has not demonstrated the technological maturity. Sir? Ralvek interrupted. His hand hovered over his sidearm. We're being watched. They turned. At the far end of the chamber, a blinking red sensor scanned them. Jack didn't move. That thing's been broken for 20 years, he said softly. Funny how it lit up the moment you insulted us again. Vielathan's eyes narrowed. You're lying. Maybe. He adjusted his belt and started walking. Or maybe this whole place ain't what it seems. That's the thing about humans, we play dumb real well. Hell, we invented the art of actin' broke while stacking gold. They followed silently now. The next hallway led downward. Narrow. No railings. More than one alien stumbled. Jack never missed a step. Tell me, he asked over his shoulder, what do y'all really think of us? Trelk hesitated. You are adaptable. Crude. Unpredictable. Not yet a threat. But someday, perhaps. Jack stopped walking. Turned. His eyes locked on the ambassador, and for the first time, the smile was gone. Not yet a threat? His voice was flat. Funny. You're standing in a base we built before half your species knew what a transistor was. The air grew still. Behind them, the lights shifted. Soft blue turned crimson. One by one, emergency indicators blinked to life. Security protocol active. A voice droned from the ceiling. Foreign presence detected. Vialathan backed up. Is this a joke? Hope so, Jack said. But she don't really do jokes anymore. Took offense last time someone mocked our plumbing. Ralvek drew his weapon. Jack didn't flinch. You really want to point that at me? Jack asked. We're 10 levels above the command core. You fire anything in here, and this whole place'll treat you like a virus. The ceiling vent hissed. Cold vapor spilled down. Jack exhaled. Guess we should wrap this tour up. Trelk sputtered. You said this was ceremonial. Jack looked back. It was. But y'all started asking questions. And Armstrong don't like being questioned. Behind them, the airlock sealed with a boom. Ralvek stood frozen, claws twitching near his holster. The red lighting pulsed through the corridors like a heartbeat, slow, deliberate, and entirely too alive. No one spoke at first. The only sound was the low hum of systems that should have been dead decades ago. Jack Carter adjusted his thermos cap, calm as Sunday morning. You smell that? He asked, sniffing. That's ozone. Usually means the defense grid's about to decide someone's lying. Ambassador Trelk's antennae drooped. You activated a defense system during a diplomatic visit? Jack looked insulted. Activated? Nah. Armstrong just doesn't like uninvited guests poking around without manners. Vialathan oozed toward a console, tendrils tapping keys cautiously. This AI was supposed to be offline since 2189. How is it responding? Like I said, Jack replied. Some things don't die easy. Especially when they're built by paranoid engineers with abandonment issues and too much caffeine. Behind them, the corridor sealed. A low clang echoed, subtle, but final. Trelk spun. What was that? Quarantine, Jack said, pointing upward. That's the vent system engaging. No gas, not yet. Just a friendly warning. This is outrageous. Trelk snapped. The Concord will respond harshly to such threats? Jack cut in, voice velvet soft. Try not to use that word here. Armstrong listens. And she's got a real short fuse for threats. The console beside Vialathan lit up. Not with Concord language. Not even English. Just a single line, in bright amber. I remember who lied. Vialathan stepped back, almost slipping. That's not possible. Oh, it's possible, Jack said. See, this base wasn't just military. It was memory. Every conversation. Every back channel. Every secret deal logged, indexed, and buried. He gave a dry chuckle. Like a digital elephant. Except elephants don't shoot back. Ralvek growled. You're bluffing. Jack stepped forward, slow and deliberate. You really want to find out? Another light blinked to life, green this time. The screen now showed a list of Concord ships, names, schematics, heat maps, and worse, movement logs. Trelk's jaw clenched. Where did this data come from? Jack sipped his coffee. Y'all used to send recon drones past our outer planets. Figured we wouldn't notice. But our satellites caught 'em. Every time. Armstrong learned their signals, studied them. And when we stopped manning her, she didn't stop watching. The screen flickered again. This time, a video. Grainy. Time-stamped. It showed a Concorde vessel violating treaty space in 2224. A small human scout ship intercepted it, then vanished. Officially, that incident never happened. Trelk's mouth went dry. We never. Jack held up a hand. Don't. I've got poker nights that lie better than that. Vialathan turned. This is a trap. You brought us here under false pretense. Jack shrugged. Nah. I brought you here for a tour. You made it a confession. The chamber rumbled faintly. Not violently. More like a warning growl from something ancient and displeased. Think of Armstrong as a watchdog, Jack continued. Not a big fan of betrayal. Or arrogance. He tilted his head. Funny how those tend to arrive together. Trelk was visibly sweating now. We demand release. Immediately. Jack's smile returned, sharp at the edges. You'll be released. Eventually. But Armstrong's got questions first. Ralvek hissed. You have no authority to detain a Concorde envoy. Technically, Jack replied, tapping a nearby panel. I don't. But Armstrong does. She's still flagged as active strategic asset under the 2167 Earth Defense Charter. That means any Concorde presence on site can be considered a potential security risk. An obsolete clause, Vialathan snapped. Jack leaned in. Obsolete doesn't mean deleted. The console now displayed their BIOS. All four of them. Heart rates, body temperatures, even biometric stress indicators. Guess who's lying the most? Jack said, sipping again. Vialathan slithered back toward the airlock. We're done here. No, Jack said quietly. Now we begin. The wall opposite them hissed open. Inside, another chamber. Dark, sterile, humming with unseen energy. Trelk's voice wavered. What is that room? Jack's voice dropped a notch. That's the archive. The place where Armstrong kept things the public wasn't ready for. He stepped aside. And you're on the guest list. None moved. Until Armstrong spoke. Enter. One word. Heavy. Unmistakable. Vialathan, for all her bluster, obeyed first. Her eye stalks scanned rapidly, but she stepped in. The others followed. The door sealed behind them. Inside, it wasn't what they expected. The archive wasn't lined with weapons or blueprints. It was filled with memories. Holograms of Earth's cities. Soldiers laughing in zero gravity. Kids waving from Mars outposts. Human history, not sanitized for alien consumption, but raw. Honest. Glorious. Terrible. Trelk turned slowly. Why show us this? Jack's voice came through a speaker above. Because y'all think we're brutes in shiny toys. That we build bombs before books. But this. A hologram of the First Contact Treaty floated into view. This is what you broke. Quietly. Repeatedly. And Armstrong doesn't forgive easy. One last hologram emerged. A map. It showed Armstrong's station, and 5 others. Hidden. Powered. Active. Vialathan gasped. You're preparing for war. Jack's voice returned, softer now. We were always prepared. We just hoped we didn't have to prove it. The lights dimmed. Outside, on the surface of the moon, seismic sensors triggered. Hidden panels began to shift. Something deep beneath the regolith stirred. Ralvek stared at the ceiling. What now? Jack's final words echoed as the archive darkened. The silence inside the archive had weight now. Not just quiet, expectant. Vialathan's eye stalks were fixed on the map still hovering midair. Trelk's mouth was slightly open, mandibles trembling. Even Ralvek stood uncharacteristically still, his claws no longer twitching for his weapon. Beneath their feet, the ground pulsed once. Subtle. Rhythmic. Alive. Trelk found her voice first. You're bluffing. You can't possibly maintain 6 hidden bases without Concord surveillance detecting them. Jack's voice returned through the overhead speakers, calm as a winter breeze. You ever try hiding a tree in a forest? Simple trick, make sure it looks just like the others. Velethan hissed. You camouflage entire installations? Jack chuckled softly. Camouflage? No. That's child's play. These bases aren't hidden. They're integrated, buried in lunar regolith, woven into mining sites, long decommissioned stations repurposed under the radar. Armstrong isn't an outlier. She's the first. Ralvek stepped forward, voice low and skeptical. Why keep this secret? Why the deception? Because you asked for peace, Jack said. And we wanted to believe you meant it. The room shifted, lights dimming, floor vibrating ever so faintly. The holograms faded, replaced by something stark, video footage. Time-stamped. Harshly lit. It showed Concord scientists scavenging human tech from wrecked probes. Weapon cores. Neural interfaces. One clip showed a drone stealing a Martian quantum processor and replacing it with a decoy. Every time we trusted, Jack said, you tested. Every olive branch we offered got pruned and analyzed like a threat. So, we stopped giving branches. Started planting roots. Trelk clenched her jaw. You had no right to operate in secrecy. Jack interrupted, tone razor-sharp. We had every right to survive. The walls of the archive began to move. Not threateningly, just revealing. Hidden compartments opened slowly, showcasing rows of dormant exosuits, stacked drones, crates labeled in faded Terran High Command code. Armstrong was no relic. She was a vault. A sentinel. Ralvek stepped toward one exosuit, eyes narrowing. These are combat prototypes. Black Series. Illegal under Concord Treaty Code 14. They were illegal, Jack replied. Until you voided the treaty by spying, reverse engineering, and, let's not forget, erasing 2 of our listening satellites with no explanation. Velethan turned panicked. This station is a declaration of war. Jack paused. His next words were slow. It's a reminder of what war would mean. Trelk whispered. You lured us here to intimidate us. Jack finally appeared in person, stepping through a door behind a glass shield, arms folded, coffee in hand. No weapons. Just presence. I lured no one, he said. Y'all came sniffing around the moon, assuming the monkeys had moved on. But we're still here. Smiling. Watching. And very, very awake. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Armstrong's voice returned. Not a tone of warning this time, just curious. Would you like to see the garden? Trelk blinked. Garden? Jack nodded toward the side door. You should. It's the most human part of this base. Suspicion draped over every alien face, but curiosity won. Slowly, cautiously, they followed Jack through the hall. The door opened, revealing a wide dome, clear above, stars blinking through the lunar surface shield. Beneath that dome bloomed Earth. Well, fragments of it. Crops. Flowers. Moss patches. Soil. A little corner of the homeworld, artificially lit and temperature controlled. A small plaque read, Planted 2193. For those who can't return. Trelk's voice softened. Why this? Jack stared at the greenery. Because we're not just soldiers. Not just war machines. We're people. We lose, we grieve, we grow. And when the world forgets us, we build a garden to remember ourselves. Velethan's eye stalks scanned the irrigation system. There's no strategic value here. Exactly, Jack replied. That's what you'll never understand unless you see us clearly. We don't build everything to win. Sometimes, we build to heal. That's why we're dangerous. We remember why we fight. Outside the dome, the vibrations returned. Louder now. Jack tapped a button on his wrist. A new hologram bloomed above them. A single Concord command vessel, *Yelverus Prime*, in high orbit above the moon. We thought, Jack said slowly, that your mission was diplomatic. A gesture of rebuilding trust. But the Yelverus isn't a diplomat's ship. She's a tactical class carrier with stealth drop pods and surface assault capabilities. Truk flinched. That ship is here for our protection. Jack tilted his head. From who? Us? Silence again. Tense. Let me be clear, he continued. You're not prisoners. You're witnesses. And what you report back will determine whether we meet again at a table, or on a battlefield. Behind them, a section of the dome's wall shifted. A small platform rose, housing a message capsule. Old tech. Tamper-proof. Direct to flagship. Jack gestured. Send your message. But I'd recommend honesty. Armstrong doesn't lie. And now, either should you. Truk approached the capsule, paused, then turned back. And what if we warn them to attack first? Jack gave her a long, unblinking stare. Then Armstrong won't be the only base to wake up. And Earth won't send envoys next time. Just ships. As the aliens began their transmission, Jack stepped back into the shadow of the dome, letting them see the garden, the technology, and the quiet determination etched into every inch of the station. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. The moon would speak for him. Aboard the Yelverus Prime, the tension simmered beneath polished steel and clinical lighting. The message capsule docked with a soft click, and High Commander Zerthael observed it with narrowed, glistening pupils. 6 eyes blinked in succession, a rare sign of unease. Truk's encryption key authenticated instantly. No edits. No signal distortion. He inserted the capsule. It whirred. Then came her voice. Sir, we were wrong. Static crackled at the edges, but her words were unmistakable, tight, controlled, shaking just slightly. The Armstrong facility is not abandoned. It is not inert. It's alive. Human personnel have maintained it covertly. The structure is a fortress masquerading as relic. Its systems include anti-orbital defense measures, autonomous drones, and repurposed AI. All hidden in plain sight. Jack Revere is leading the site, an ex-strategist from their Soul Defense Corps. His demeanor is polite, his tone measured, but he is not harmless. None of them are. Zerthael's tendrils curled into his command robes. Jack Revere? The name meant little to most Concord officers, but to him, an old war historian, it carried weight. Revere had disappeared from intelligence logs 20 years ago after the Solar Quiet Accords. Now he lived on the moon. Truk's message continued. He let us see the core of it, sir. The real message wasn't a threat, it was a demonstration. This wasn't meant for confrontation. It was meant to warn. The humans have not gone dormant. They've simply gone quiet. But underneath that quiet, they're watching, waiting, and preparing. We must respond, wisely. The message ended. The room was silent. Then Subcommander Vale's voice broke the air. We should deploy a stealth pod. Seize the facility before it fully activates. Zerthael didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked toward the wide viewport, staring down at the gray curve of Luna below. No, he said at last. Vale turned. Sir? We will not strike first, Zerthael murmured. Not unless we wish to start a war we do not understand. Below, inside Armstrong Station, Jack sat cross-legged on the cold metal deck of the control room, surrounded by cables, old tools, and a half-disassembled drone that hadn't flown since the Europa raids. Armstrong hummed around him, its lights steady, its pressure seals strong, its pulse matching his. He took a sip of coffee, the real kind, black as vacuum. Bitter. Steadying. The aliens had sent their message. Good. Now the real test began. He tapped a panel beside him. Armstrong, status check? Any reaction from orbit? Armstrong's voice replied, smooth and emotionless. Yelverus Prime has adjusted its orbital trajectory by 2.1 degrees. No weapons primed. Passive scans only. No new dropships deployed. Jack nodded. They're scared. They are calculating. Same thing. He stood slowly, rubbing his shoulder. Old injury. Cold moon air made it ache more than usual. A soft chime came from the inner door. Not an alert. A visitor. When he opened it, Trelk stood there. Alone. I didn't think you'd come back down, Jack said. I insisted, she replied. He raised a brow. Brave. No, she said. Curious. Jack stepped aside. Then come be curious. They walked in silence until they reached the observation corridor overlooking the drone cradle, a hangar lined with sleek black machines dormant in rows, their eyes dark. Do you know what the Concorde says about your kind? Trelk asked suddenly. Jack exhaled through his nose. You mean besides being unpredictable, volatile, and prone to self-destruction? Her mandibles clicked softly. And incapable of unity. Jack smirked. That one's fair. We are terrible at getting along. But this? She gestured to the facility. This took unity. Secrecy. Collaboration. Jack's eyes hardened. Only when we needed to. Trelk paused, studying him. You used to be a diplomat, didn't you? Jack chuckled. No. I just wore a nicer suit back then. Trelk stepped closer to the observation window, voice quiet. If you'd wanted us dead, you wouldn't have let us leave. Correct. Why didn't you? Jack leaned against the frame, arms folded. Because you weren't the enemy. Not yet. You were the test. Trelk flinched. Test? We wanted to see what you'd do when faced with a secret too big to ignore. Would you report it? Lie about it? Exploit it? You surprised me by doing the one thing we hoped for, telling the truth. She stared. That was the test all along? Jack nodded. War is easy. Trust? That's hard. Trelk stepped back, uncertain. Then why cloak everything in lies? Because, he said gently, the last time we were honest, your people took notes. And then you took Mars. That shut her up. Jack turned, walking back down the corridor. His voice echoed behind him. We haven't forgotten. We just chose to wait. Orbit, Yelverus Prime Command Deck ****. Zerthael issued a direct encryption transmission. To Concorde High Council, immediate directive, do not engage human installations on Luna. The Armstrong Station is not a military target. It is a trigger. He paused, then added. These humans, they do not posture like us. They prepare in silence. They deceive with kindness. And they fight only when they're certain it will hurt. Recommend, establish diplomatic path immediately. Use only veteran tacticians with prior human war engagement. No AI intermediaries. No provocation. One misstep will not begin a war, it will end us. Armstrong Station, final hours of the cycle. The garden dome was quiet again. Vialathan stood alone now, observing a single earth rose blooming under artificial light. Red. Perfect. Out of place and entirely at home. Jack approached from behind. Beautiful, isn't it? Vialathan turned. Terrifying, actually. You nurture life as a way to remember war. No, Jack said. We nurture life because we remember what war takes. The alien inclined his head. Then I hope we don't make you remember again. Jack didn't respond. He just let the silence say it for him. Because humans didn't threaten. They warned. Once. And the moon had spoken.